Welcome into another edition of Pete's Pigskin Preview, presented by Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James. I'm Neil McCready in the Clark Ford Studios, joined as always by MPW digital football expert Pete DeWeese, getting you ready for a really big football game in Oxford on Saturday, 2:30 Central Standard Time on ABC. It is the second-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. With one loss, they lost at Alabama, facing the two-loss Ole Miss Rebels at home. Ole Miss coming off of a 63-31 shellacking of Arkansas in Fayetteville this past weekend, setting up what is essentially a playoff game for Ole Miss on Saturday. A Rebel win. It's really kind of hard-pressed not to think that Ole Miss will make the playoffs. An Ole Miss loss, and they're not making the playoffs. So that's where things are. So we're going to dive into that game momentarily with Pete. First, I'll tell you that we're brought to you each and every week by our friends at Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors. That's a full-service investment team based in Jackson, Mississippi, providing financial planning and investment management to clients across the state and surrounding areas. Ryan Geary and his partners are a local team that utilize the strength and resources of a national firm to bring their clients an impeccable level of service. This includes access to investment strategies and portfolio managers not available to all investors. If you're interested in a no-obligation benchmark consultation, or you just want to be added to their monthly market update email list, reach out to financial advisor Ryan Geary with Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James, 601-368-2215, or Ryan, R-Y-A-N, Geary, G-E-A-R-Y, at RaymondJames.com. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC. Pete, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here on this Wednesday evening as we record.
Yeah, we normally tape on Tuesday night. We moved it to Wednesday for
had a few things going on yesterday.
Had an assortment of things going on. We had I was driving the first part of the day. I had work to do. Oxford and Lafayette played a soccer game out at Lafayette last evening at around 7:30 that I really wanted to go see. And then there was an election in our country, and I was going to be distracted. Pete probably would have been distracted. Most people in America probably would have been distracted. So we moved it back a day. And actually, I'm kind of glad we did this week because it gave me a little more time to talk to some people and get a feel for what might be coming and keep an eye on the weather and all of that. All right, real quick, because we talked about it last week. I think you thought Ole Miss would beat Arkansas. I thought Ole Miss would beat Arkansas. I thought it'd be a couple of scores, 10 to 14 points is sort of what I expected. I never saw 30-something points coming. I asked Lane Kiffin, did you see that coming? And he said he did not. Made me feel better. I guess the question is, what was that? How was Ole Miss's offense without Trey Harris, without Caden Prieskorn so sharp?
The easy answer is to say the kids were dialed in, specifically the quarterback. I will say this, Ole Miss hit a stretch, LSU in particular, and also, Kentucky, where it was a lot of man coverage, and teams that were effective getting some pressure with just their front, not having to be too exotic in the pressure game. When they circle out and they get to the Oklahoma game and they get to the Arkansas game, it's a lot more zone coverage. The picture's changing and they're bringing pressure, and the line handled it well. And when you play zone against this Ole Miss offense, if you protect Jackson Dart and he is on, he does a really, really good job attacking zone. I mean, I said it on here, after we saw the tight ends emerge against Oklahoma, we saw a zone defense and not big athletes that are matching the Ole Miss big athletes that aren't battles that Ole Miss has shown the ability to consistently win at that position. But you find zone and you find holes and Dart and even late in the game, Simmons for Ole Miss, they understood how to manipulate the zone, and they were able to find their tight ends and operate the middle of the field. Obviously, the emergence and the absolutely explosive day from Watkins played such a big role. Watkins had the huge day. We can't deny that. Daquan Wright had a big day, but sneakily, I mean, Caden Lee also had a good day.
He did.
And Caden right now, I think is second on the team in receptions. And so, you look at that and you see that's three guys that put up really good numbers. And let's be honest, after Parrish goes down in that game, you did it without much semblance of a run game. And so, I just bottom line, I think they got a matchups that were favorable. They got coverage presentations that were favorable. They did a great job protecting the quarterback. And they executed. And that execution trumps a lot of things.
All right, let me ask you this, and then we'll dive into Georgia because I am fascinated to see what you think about Georgia because I remember doing this preview show last year, and I said goodbye to you at the end of it and walked downstairs, and my wife, who could not care less, I just said, Pete thinks Georgia's going to kick Ole Miss's ass, and she said, did he say that? And I said, he didn't say it. He didn't have to say it. He thought Georgia was going to kick. He thought Georgia's going to kick Ole Miss's ass, and then as it happened, I was like, oh, Pete nailed this. So we'll get to that in a minute. I am going to ask you this: you're a coach. I talked to Tyler Siskey about this. Chase did earlier in the week. There's a lot of talk about rain on Saturday. I can tell you that in Oxford right now, it is humid as hell, and it just feels like there's moisture on the way. Whatever that means. For the sake of this, let's say it rains a fairly good amount. How does that affect a football game?
I mean, it obviously can. King Crane and that staff has 20 footballs prepped and ready for that game. And they'll check in as many as they need to, and the officials are going to let them swap out, and they're going to do everything they can to keep the balls dry and be able to manage it. If you're a team that is not going to be able to ground and pound, it can get more and more difficult, in particular if you strictly rely on pushing the ball down the field. But, in my experience, if a quarterback has small hands, he may struggle with a wet ball. If a quarterback does not have small hands, most colleges, if they don't practice it once a week, they hit it fairly often. I know when I was at Ole Miss on Tuesdays, quarterbacks and centers took snaps pre-practice, and the squirt Powerade bottles that you use to water down between plays. My job was to stand there and wet down Ben Claxton's hands or Chris Spencer or whoever it was. And I mean, I did that every Tuesday for 4 or 5 years. It feels like. And it was just once practice went on, we didn't necessarily deal with it. And I think part of that was they felt like if we could handle the exchange, we were going to be fine to execute, right? If you could handle the exchange from quarterback to center, which at that time was most often under center, if you could handle that, and then you could handle the exchange with the running back, the throwing and catching, maybe you tell guys don't catch things with your body, catch it with your hands, and maybe in the rain, you start seeing guys embrace the ball a little bit more with their body and do some things. So it certainly can kind of create some recipe and some opportunity for turnover. But more so than rain, I'd love to know what Tyler said. I haven't had a chance to go see that, but more so than rain, wind.
That's what he said. He said wind was a much bigger factor than rain.
It's if wind and rain as a combo is a bad mama, right? But bad wind in general is going to affect you more. Look, at some point, it's a torrential downpour and everybody's miserable, period, right? Outside of that, it's the wind that you worry about more than the rain, particularly at that level, right? Cambridge High School does not have 20 footballs and multiple managers with every apparatus you can think of to keep balls warm and dry, and like literally every high school team in the country on Friday, or every high school team in Mississippi on Friday night that's in the playoffs, they're probably going to have a bin of kitty litter on the sideline, and when the ball's out of the game, they're going to put it in the kitty litter and shake it around. Ole Miss is not going to be doing that on the sideline. right? And so it's a different game, and it's one that even though they may not have played in that environment, and they don't have to practice it anymore because of the indoor facility, but they'll be fine.
All right, let's dive into Georgia. I'm gonna hand it to you. I'm gonna preface it with this. I have a couple of contacts that obviously I'm good friends with who are around that program who have consistently said that look, Georgia's good, but they're not as good as they were a year ago. Ole Miss is good. I think Ole Miss is better than it was a year ago. I know the Kentucky loss and the LSU loss. I get it, 100%, and those are L's. But analytically, Ole Miss is better than it was a year ago. Georgia's not as good. This game's not in Athens. It's in Oxford. Last year, it was a 35-point game, and it could have been a 49-point game if Kirby had wanted it to be. So I guess the question I have is, I hand it over to you, is how much has Ole Miss closed the gap?
A healthy Ole Miss team is much better than an Ole Miss team was last year. I believe that. Defensively, Ole Miss is so much better. I think that offensively right now, Ole Miss, I think in a lot of people's eyes, they may not be as aggressive as they have been in the past. And I think part of that is because they know that if they don't make mistakes, their defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. And I think there have been times in the past where they felt pressure to go get a lead and fight like hell to protect it. And that can change the way that you call a game. And I think the Ole Miss defense is so much better than it was in the past. Are they perfect? No. Are there flaws? LSU found them, right? They exist. Georgia's going to do their damnedest to find them on Saturday. But I do think they're better. Has Ole Miss been as effective running the football? No. They've found ways to do enough, right? They've relied on Jackson Dart. And there are some elements in this game that I am curious to see if they play out different than what we have seen for the most part during the course of the season. And part of that is if Henry Parrish is going to be out, and my understanding is he is out.
He is out.
And so if knowing that, it's where do they go? What does the run game look like without the guy that is far and away your leading rusher? I mean, on the season, Henry Parrish has 130 carries. Jackson Dart has 77, and that's counting sacks. And the next up is Matt Jones at 43 carries, who hasn't played in a while, has been out with injury. You've got Bentley at 37. It is a Parrish far and away is taking the workload in that backfield, and he's out. And he's far and away been your most productive player at the same time. Now, I will say this. When they went next man up last week at Fayetteville, they were not handing the ball off a ton after that, but I thought that back was fantastic in pass protection. A little bit different beast against Georgia, but I understood quickly the way that they were throwing the football and the way they wanted to continue to be aggressive and throwing the football in that game. They put in the guy that gave them the best chance in protection, and hats off, because I thought he did a phenomenal job in that aspect of the game.
I get the Bentley question all the time, and my answer is not meant to be smartass. And I don't know. I've never coached offense. I've never coached running backs. I don't know. But I do know this. We're 9 games into a 12-game regular season, which is 75%. And 75% of the way in, they're not playing Bentley.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they're not.
It says something.
But it says a lot.
Yes,
and so,
absolutely.
So the expectation that he's going to suddenly play a massive role, I mean, I guess he could, but the math says he won't.
Yeah.
And on Saturday in Fayetteville, when Henry Parrish went down, they didn't turn to Bentley. They turned to Dominic Thomas.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm curious to see, like I said, what does that look like from a health standpoint when you talk about, where's Trey Harris realistically? When you talk about, preschool.
Well, as we record this on a Wednesday night, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss have put out their injury report. It is 26 names long. Henry Parrish is out. Logan Diggs is out. Read into this whatever you want to. I don't know. Trey Harris is listed as doubtful. Jordan Watkins is listed as doubtful. Jaden Williams is listed as doubtful. Jared Ivey is listed as questionable. Caden Lee is questionable. I mean, the list just kind of goes on and on. A whole bunch of probables. I think Ole Miss is playing games with the injury report, but maybe they're not. I can't prove that. I don't know. But to answer your question, I don't know.
But that's that's the ultimate piece for me. Make no bones about this. I'm going to say some things tonight that are going to give Ole Miss fans hope, I believe. But make no bones about it. Georgia is a damn good football team, and they may not be what they've been the past couple of years, but they certainly showed up in Austin, Texas, and showed you that they're still a premier team. And when they get rolling on either side of the ball, they have the ability to snowball on you a little bit. And so, if Ole Miss isn't healthy, whether that's Jared Ivey, whether it's one of the offensive skill players, the depth of Georgia and the run that they've made is ultimately about the talent they've acquired, right? And so the depth of Georgia becomes more and more of a concern for Ole Miss if Ole Miss is without pivotal playmakers across the board. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to show you some both sides of the ball. We're going to look at their offense, and we're going to look at the Georgia defense as well. But I thought that I would start with the Georgia offense. Being here in Georgia, I see a lot of Georgia play. I've coached against some of their players. We go there every summer for their 7-on-7 tournament, and our kids get to run around and catch balls and compete, whether it's in their indoor facility, their practice fields, or in Sanford Stadium. I mean, we're over there. Know a couple of the guys on staff, and obviously so many people that I spend my day around are avid Bulldog fans. And some that I've talked to throughout the course of the year, they know and believe that they are a good football team, but they also, coming from football guys, have things that they wish they did better. If Georgia can line up and run it down your throat, they are going to. It is going to be a long night. That being said, that is not what they do best. They're talented in the backfield. They have big physical bodies up front, but they don't have an explosive run game right now. What Georgia does better than almost anybody in the country, in my opinion, is they make you defend the edges. They make you defend. When people talk about defend the whole field, all 53 and a third, I think a lot of times people think that means they have to spread you out. Georgia will actually shrink you down with 2 tight end personnel groupings and all these different things to give them numbers to just get the ball in space to playmakers, and they're fantastic. So some of the things I'm going to show you tonight, we're going to look at some of that. Offensively, we're going to focus on their performance against Florida. And then when we look at the defense, we're actually going to go all the way back to that game in Austin a few weeks ago. So this particular clip, they are going to come out, Georgia, in an unbalanced set. This is early in the game. This is, I believe, the second drive for Georgia. So they're going to come out in an unbalanced. They have one receiver to the boundary. He is off the ball, so he is eligible to go in motion. To the field, they have 2 tight ends. They have or really maybe 3 here. They have Lawson Lucky, number 7, is flexed out as kind of a stand-up receiver. They have another player 2 to 3 yards outside of him. They have another tight end that is in a wing position between the number 2 receiver and the tight end, and then they have the tailback. So they start out in an unbalanced 4-by-1 set, and they are going to add a 5th hat, and they are just going to run a little jet sweep to the boundary. Okay, so as you look at it, you've got Humphreys, the Vanderbilt transfer, Lucky, who played locally at Norcross, Georgia. I played against him when he was in high school. 84, who was a portal kid, I believe, from Stanford, maybe at tight end. and then you've got Jones in the backfield. So they're going to bring in motion, and they are going to use all these hats to try to pin as much as they can inside, and then they are going to get bodies out in front. They're going to pull linemen, and they are going to get this jet sweep going to the field, and they're going to try to ignite this offense by going laterally right here to start it. So they're actually going to zone away with the offensive line on this play to try to slow down your linebackers. Try to get them pinning. Lucky, number 7, does a great job pinning the edge right there. Humphreys, the outside receiver, comes down, takes an inside backer. The tight end and tailback are now free to take the corner and the safety, and they get a solid gain of about 8 yards on first down to start this drive. So right away, they're testing the edge. They're going to figure out how effective can we be testing the edge. One thing that they're going to do is they are going to present a ton of outside and perimeter run, but they're also going to use that to complement their passing game. So they've already lined up at this point. They've shown you that they're going to put the ball on the edge. So they're going to show you that similar outside run off of a toss action right here, and they are going to get into a play action concept. They are going to take number 7. He is going to drag, and he is going to try and hold those backers. They're going to push the single receiver vertical, and they are going to bring some version of a crossing route. In this particular case, I believe it is a dig behind it. Okay. When they can keep, they use the pull action by the guard, the action to the tailback to try and slow down the rush. All of that helps occupy the linebackers. And when you give Carson Beck time, they do a really nice job. Now, a great deal of their passing game, as I break it down, is built on dig routes, crossing routes, post routes, curl routes. For everything that they do sideways, they do so much in the middle of the field in their actual passing game. And you can see how they open it up here. Now, this is a 2-high cover 2 look. This is not where you're going to see Ole Miss major defensively. They are going to run a lot of 1-high man-to-man structure. So the middle of the field, in theory, may not be open the same way. But you can see what it looks like here. There's the toss action from Carson Beck. There's the guard pulling. You get everybody leading out, showing this perimeter run. Both linebackers step up. They feel it. Now they go to try to find the crosser. They get the crosser. Beck's going to come right down. Huge play in the middle of the field. Gets them to midfield. 2 plays later, okay, they are going to come back now, and they are going to try to get downhill. Now, with Georgia, like I said, if Georgia can get downhill on you, they are going to get downhill. They are not overly explosive in the downhill run game, but it's not because they don't have the ability to move bodies, okay? You watch right here, and all I want you to do is watch this double team that takes place right here between the tight end and the tackle on this defensive end. It actually, I believe, on this clip ends up being a triple, essentially, with both tight ends and the tackle. But they are going to get movement right there. I mean, they are pushing that in 5-6 yards downfield, and that ends up being essentially a solo by one tight end. Florida gets bailed out here. It's just a simple duo play, build as many combos as I can, okay? If they do not get the edge support from the defensive back right there, it is about to be a big play. They win on the interior here, and he is not allowed to get vertical and into this cut because they're able to force the ball with the secondary player off the edge. Ole Miss is going to have to do a great job at corner and at safety of forcing the ball on the perimeter, turning it back into their help, and in the run game and in the perimeter game, coming inside to make these tackles and to keep it hemmed up. If you don't do that, if 7 from Florida sits and is not aggressive on this, this is about to be an explosive run for Florida. You see the crease is happening right there. It's about to be a big gain, but 7 does a good job in the fit, so you're going to have to do it, okay? They're going to come down. They're going to try to run the ball, and if they're not successful running the ball down your throat, here it is going sideways. They are a really timely and a really good perimeter screen football team. They love throwing screens to their outside receivers, and anytime they are in a trip set, they especially like throwing it to the number 2 receiver. They will motion, they'll mix it up, they'll throw it to the other guys, but whoever is lined up in the slot as the number 2 guy is most often the guy that is going to get it. So right here, they're going to try to do it off of a run action. So if you watch, the tackle is going to set to try and invite this player upfield, and then he is going to release. They're going to pull a guard to try and hold linebackers and get them to false step, making it look like it is some type of a run play. The center and the left side of the offensive line is all going to block down, slip their guys, and they are going to get out now and try to create this combo. If you're Ole Miss and you're typically playing a tighter man-to-man type look and the defender is here, you're going to see the tight end is going to come take that defender. They're going to try to set him up, come right back underneath and ride the wave. Here, because the defender is off, he's going to go ahead and push vertical for the most dangerous man. But you can see here, Beck is just going to, he's not even going to really give a cheap fake at all to the tailback the other way. But they're going to try to use that, get the bodies out in front. And again, this is a 3rd and 9 right here, and they're throwing this simple screen off of a run action, getting it out to a guy in space, and they are going to force you to tackle in space. Again, you come back, you look at things that they do well, and they're going to get the perimeter. They're going to toss. They, in this game, I believe, ran 5 versions of just old school toss. Go to the Texas game, you see it 3 or 4 times, including down on the goal line. They are going to toss the ball on the perimeter from under center, from the gun. They are going to get it out there multiple ways. Here, they start in a 2 tight set. They're going to motion Lucky across. There they come into the boundary on a 1st and 10. Bar, as is actually after a hold, so it's actually, I believe, a 1st and 20 or a 1st and even longer than that. I think it's like a 1st and 25 or something. But here they go coming out. There it is, 1st and 20. They're going to come out. There's the toss action. Now they're getting themselves into what looks like it's going to be like a 2nd and 8, much more manageable. You are going to have to do a really good job if you're Ole Miss of setting that edge. For Ole Miss, so much of what they do well happens right there defensively. It's going to be about how do they handle here and all of the support behind it. If you can handle that, you give yourself a chance to really stymie this run game and to really slow them down. If you allow Georgia to get hat on hat right here, they do a great job of getting that ball on the perimeter. Okay, just again, another example how they get the ball on the perimeter. They are here. They're going to package a pin and pull sweep. So you're going to have a sweep to the left for the in the run game. They're going to pull uncovered linemen. In this case, it should be the guard and center based on the presentation. Are going to pull out almost like an old school buck sweep if you're an old wing T high school player. And then they are going to block a perimeter screen on the outside. Very simple RPO read for Carson Beck. All he's got to do is the math right here. You have 4 defenders over 3, so he's going to hand this ball off right here, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the butt shot, bounce the back, pin. There goes the center and guard getting out in front, and there they are getting the running back again on the edge. It doesn't have to be an explosive play to be effective. It keeps them out of the teeth of the Ole Miss defense. It forces Ole Miss, especially if they want to play a lot of man-to-man, to be really disciplined. It can be difficult to be disciplined in the run fit while also having man-to-man responsibility, and Ole Miss is going to have to do that. Now, a lot of talk I've seen locally, but also with Ole Miss fans, is about Carson Beck. He has turned the ball over in recent games, okay? Yeah, sometimes a lot. Sometimes it's been the defense has made good plays. Sometimes it has been a structural issue with the offense caused by somebody doing something. And sometimes it's just been bad quarterback play where he's been baited by something, whatever that may look like. So this is actually his 2nd interception from the game last Friday. And I'm going to show you why this interception happens. 2 tight ends to the boundary, twins to the field, looks like a run set. Georgia likes to throw the ball on 1st down. and they like to throw it down the field on first down when they can. So they're going to pull up here and they're going to run a smash concept to the boundary. All they're trying to do is cut this field in half and get this safety out of the picture. Florida is showing a kind of clear too high look right here. Okay. Behind it, they are going to, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to roll this thing forward right here. So behind it, they have cleared out this safety. They are pushing him vertical. He can stay skinny. He may have the option to corner it, but here I believe he's actually going to run the post and he's going to go run through it. They love dig routes. Said that earlier. Digs, crossers, they spend a lot of money there. Okay. So here in this press, the outside receiver is going to stem inside. He's going to stem vertical, and now he's going to break on this dig route. You can see the tailback here is late getting out. He is in protection still. And one of the knocks on Eddie Eaton coming out of Florida was he was not great in the passing game. And early in this season, if you run the numbers, and I know Ole Miss has, I'd be willing to bet that when one's out of the game, probability of throwing the football went up. Okay. So here, he's late getting out. You need him in the flat. Him in the flat makes this defender expand, and it opens up this huge window over the middle of the field to throw the dig. The tailback is late getting out, and it allows this backer to read the eyes, and everything about those eyes is holding him in this curl area right now. There's the ball. He doesn't see him underneath. Now, even if he does not make the play, it is a great job by this boundary backer of seeing it, and I'm not sure he doesn't pick it off if the other guy doesn't.
Ooh.
Because Beck is late on this throw. He is telegraphing this thing. That ball needs to be thrown now as he's coming out of the break. It's just barely behind, but the way they're playing zone, they're underneath it. Now, when I see most of these issues for Carson Beck, it is against zone coverage where his eyes have not been great. Ole Miss, heavy man-to-man coverage. I'm curious to see if Pete Golding mixes in some zone coverage in this game. You can look at it from the end zone. You can see again. So right here, they've set the slide here from a protection standpoint. The nose crosses face. The center has to take him. He's Gilligan there. He's on an island. Typically, that's going to mean the back is on number 10. 10 does not blitz. He gets immediately into a drop right here. Okay. Right now, that should tell 1 to get out because the guard should be able to pick up number 6 in the fan right here. He holds. He checks it to make sure somebody else is picking him up. I don't know. He may be a double read player right there. Or he may just not be confident in the protection scheme. If he gets out early right there, that underneath player is out with him. Because he doesn't, and because Beck telegraphs his throw a little bit, eyes go backside, his feet are moving, he is not able to get fully comfortable in the pocket, and there's 2 players there to pick that thing off, and that is a poor decision and a poor execution from Carson Beck. If Ole Miss can mix in some zone coverages and give him some looks that he may not be anticipating while still making him happy in the pocket, there is opportunity to potentially create turnovers. Okay. Now, going back, I've been preaching it, right? They are going to get the ball on the perimeter. Ole Miss is going to have to stop the perimeter game for Georgia. Here they are. Again, the formation is slightly condensed. They are going to motion the tight end across. And now they are just going to run an extended version of toss sweep. It's just a swing pass now instead of a true toss, but it has the same effect. This is an extension of their run game. That ball may be going forward. Congratulations, Carson. It goes on your stats. But realistically, this is a run play on first down that just gained them 3 yards, right? But if you don't handle it very well, they have the ability, the athleticism, and they do a good job blocking on the perimeter. These things can turn into explosive plays in a hurry. Just a couple more from this game, and I chose the next 2 plays specifically because of what Ole Miss typically likes to do defensively. Again, heavy man-to-man, which means somebody is going to be locked in on this running back. They do a nice job, in particular with, I believe it's Cash Jones or something along those lines,
Yes.
particularly with Jones, they will get him into option routes. Right here, you are getting a two deep look with man. It is a two-man look right here on a 1st and 10 from the Georgia offense. Okay, and they're going to bail out and they're going to put this linebacker one-on-one with Jones. They're going to clear everything out. If he gets a matchup or a free release seam, he may take that ball, but what he's realistically trying to do is take this matchup with his tailback. So he's got the option here. He can cross face or he can work outside as a tailback. Here you can see the linebacker's inside, so Jones is going to work out. If the linebacker's too far over the top, he's going to stick back inside and he is going to run to that grass. On this particular clip, okay, Beck knows right now it's not there. He's going to hold it, find it. There he is. Works outside. 1st and 10, missed tackle, turns into a 12, 13-yard gain. Move the sticks. He's out of bounds. Very easy conversion. Skipping to later in the same game. Similar formation presentation, exact same play. Now it plays out plays out differently. They're in the red zone now. Okay. They're going to kind of shift the back, just kind of bounce him out there, give him leverage. Now, boom, linebacker's almost steps on his toes, a little bit more outside. He fills all that space inside. He's going to take it. Easy throw and catch right there. Miss the tackle, and it goes from just an easy short pass into an absolute explosive down in the red zone right there for a touchdown. Very simple. It's a kid that clearly they trust doing this. It's probably not something they have dialed up for a ton of kids in the system. You have the one or two guys that have a good feel for it. You rep it. And when you're going to play man-to-man coverage and you're going to isolate a linebacker on a running back, Georgia is going to try and take advantage of it using simple little things like this. And then just the last one I'm going to show you of their offense. Again, great perimeter screen team, in my opinion. In particular, great job of doing it in the red zone. Going back, similar to the first screen that I showed you, you can see, here it is, I think it's a 2nd and 2 or a 3rd and 2 in the red zone, however, and they are just going to pull up. There's the screen, get guys out in front, make one dude miss, and walk in right there. The more you see Pete Golding try to light up this offensive line and get exotic with pressures, the more perimeter screens I think you will see. But also, if you start to give them big cushions like Florida does here on this particular snap, you are going to see Mike Bobo try and dial up many perimeter screens on this Ole Miss defense. Arguably the Georgia offense is good. What makes them go is ultimately it is their defense. They do a phenomenal job. They have had phenomenal personnel on that side of the ball for some time. They still have great personnel. They've not been extremely healthy on defense this year from what I gather from talking to different people locally. But what they do a great job of is, one, they have personnel that can play, but two, they will mix up. They will give you different looks. So we're going to focus on some of the different looks that they'll give you, similar to how we did preparing for the Oklahoma defense. And we looked at the way they attack and pressure and the things that they'll do coverage-wise. But we're going to look at those. But then I'm also going to look at just some things that fit the mold of what Ole Miss likes to do offensively and see how these two things kind of play off of each other. So early in the game against Texas, this is a 3rd and long. I believe it is a 3rd and 9. Okay. They're going to show you a pressure look, and they are actually only going to give a 3-man rush, and they are going to play 2-man behind it. So what that means is they're going to play 2 deep safeties that are going to be there to responsible to kind of keep a cloud over everything, not let anything free behind them. And they are going to play man-to-man underneath. For an offense that does in certain situations like to run the quarterback, they're going to keep a spy there for Jackson Dart. Try not to let him get out, okay? In my opinion, a lot of where you were going to beat Georgia, especially in man-to-man situations, is going to be attacking the safeties. They are talented. They can play man coverage. They ask them to. But I do think trying to find those matchups is going to be important. You can see here, they are able to get rush with 3. The spy is ready. As soon as Quinn Ewers goes to get out of the pocket, the spy gets into his rush right there, forces him to get the ball out of his hands, and Georgia is off the field. Okay. Moving on. All right. I believe after a penalty. This is something we've talked about and we have seen Ole Miss do several different times throughout the course of the year. And we've talked about how much Ole Miss loves to open games this way, where they are going to work some type of a sail route, however it sorts out into the boundary. Okay. Big fans of it in Oxford. Here, Sarkisian is going to go to the same thing. He's going to motion 0 out. And the goal here is to push 0 vertical, clear everything out, and let the slot player now work into the sail route right here. They're going to window dress this thing with their protection. They're going to pull a guard. There's 7 guys in protection. They get a clean pocket. For whatever reason, he does not trust it, and he goes to find his check down early. And as soon as he does, I want you to watch the Georgia defense, eyes in backfield, in zone coverage. They are going to see it, and they are going to react to it, and they are there in a heartbeat to limit the game. But if Quinn Ewers will just trust his protection and trust his concept, right now, there's my post to clear out the corner. Here comes my sail route back to the outside with touch, and with the right angle of departure on the route, look at the green grass to drop that ball into space.
Yeah, it's definitely there.
It exists, right? Execution is a whole nother story, but the space to hit routes does exist, in particular when you can get them rolling into their cover 3 look that they are going to play quite a few times throughout the course of the game. All right, moving forward again, okay? RPOs versus this team. Ole Miss loves to throw RPOs, hitches into the boundary. There are times where you're going to get it, and there are times where they're going to take it away. And we talked about it last week. If Jackson Dart is good with his eyes and understanding what is happening in front of him, then, Ole Miss is safe. What you can't allow yourself to do is throw the ball out into coverage. Here, Quinn Ewers sees the corner bailing. What you have to see is 13 is going to defend the flat now. They're replacing him with a safety, and they are getting into a cover 3 look to the boundary, but they are still playing a cover 2 look to the field. So they have split the field in half from a coverage standpoint, and right here, the handoff is the read. He pulls it, doesn't maybe get the look he wants when they get into this zone coverage. The corner gets hard inside leverage. Okay. Well timed, a slant route or a glance route right there in that window can be executed. Here, he pulls it, and I feel like he is expecting this receiver, whether he's expecting him to break it off or cross face, I don't know. But when he comes out of this mesh to throw this ball, he's ready now, and the receiver's not. So he ends up waiting, and he's trying to give his guy a chance, and ends up, they get the flag right there. They have a step at one point, and with a better ball, maybe it's a completion. And they do end up getting bailed out by the flag, but they look a little bit out of rhythm there. Maybe it's not really a double move. It just looks like they're trying to work the vertical. The presentation, the run box, the adjustment by the defense, I can understand why he did it, but they are 100%. This is a mesh run play. And just if you are on the same page, there's some room to exploit the defense, but you have to make sure you are right. Okay. A little bit later in the same drive. Okay. They're going to come out. This is a 3rd and 6. We're going to look at several 3rd down clips tonight. Okay. 3rd and 6. And this is one of the big plays that they talked about time and time again on the broadcast if you watch this game live. Okay. What you have to see if you were the quarterback is this corner is showing press. He is down. There is not another receiver to that side of the field except for your tailback, and yet there is a safety down. There is no reason for that safety to be down versus man-to-man unless he's coming all the way down to take the back and the pressure's coming from this side of the field. They want you to think you're getting man-to-man the boundary, and what they're actually going to do right here is they're going to crash this corner on a corner blitz. The safety is down because he is becoming the flat player, and the high safety is now going to be over the top. Okay? They are trying to bait you into a short throw. And the truth is, Texas has the perfect call here to the field. They have a man beater where they are going to work this little trailer concept. So they're going to push him vertical to hold the safety. He is going to go inside to take this hook defender or the receiver or the defender responsible for first thing in. He is going to show flat to hold the corner outside and then trail right back underneath and find this little honey hole in the coverage. Perfect call. Problem is the protection buries the tailback, and here comes the corner off the edge. If he sticks his feet in the ground now, that ball should be out right there, and it's first down Longhorns. He holds it, feels the pressure late, but it is too late, and it is an absolute kill shot on third down. Turns the ball over, sets the Georgia offense up with great field position. You have to recognize, one, the safety structure. If that safety's not coming down to take the back, then why in the hell is the corner pressing? And two, if I have this man beater over here, I've got to be quick, boom, ball out now, and it's a touchdown. Okay. Again, moving on. Okay. Going to show you some things, like I said earlier, that give you some reason for optimism if you're Ole Miss. You have to execute at the line of scrimmage, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. But they are just going to work a simple Mills concept. They're going to push the tight end to the flat to expand Chaz Chambliss right here. They're going to outside release the widest receiver who's got his split kind of reduced into a post, and he is trying to clear this safety. They're going to take this number 2 receiver, and they are going to run a little dig or curl. All you're asking your quarterback to do right here is read this safety. If the safety plays top down on the curl, you want to replace the ball behind him with the post route. If he plays with depth on the post, you should now be working your underneath route right here. Okay? Here, there's the vertical stem. What does the safety do? Safety is down. He is on the dig route. Now, there is a window right there to throw the dig route. It is open. It moves the sticks on 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8. But
there's also an opening on the post if he cuts right there because he's cutting in, so he's going to have leverage behind him.
Safety triggers, replace him with the football. Ball's got to be in rhythm right here, and this is about knowing who's my guy, what's my matchup. Does this need to be a 1 ball? Is this a fastball, or is this a 3 ball that I can put air on and let him run under it? And part of that is, what's the leverage? Is the guy still on top of my receiver and outside? If so, then I probably need to put a little more zip on the ball. If he's behind my receiver and outside, I'm going to lay it up and I'm going to let him run under it right here. Ewers throws this thing a little bit off his back foot. Ball sails on him, and it almost ends up being a better throw to the DB than it actually ends up being to the receiver. If this ball is better thrown and you put that thing here, 100% a chance to go make a play on it before the backside safety can get there, and they feel a lot different about things in Austin, Texas. Okay. This play got a ton of talk. I think Herb Street was in love watching this play as it unfolded. Okay. Again, recognize what you see. Trust your instinct. Trust your skill. Everything about the presentation of this corner says man-to-man. He is square to the line of scrimmage. He is tight. His eyes are locked in to the receiver. The safety, and this is, I think, a 3rd and 5, maybe 3rd and 6. The safety is 11 yards off and playing back. If this corner is in man-to-man, somebody has to be in man-to-man on the slot receiver. Who is it? There's nobody in position to play man-to-man on that guy.
So almost, would it be the safety there?
Well, so the safety from depth, which makes 0 sense at 3rd and 6.
Yeah, no sense.
Or you're telling me that this guy with his back turned is man-to-man. It ain't happening. What you want your quarterback to see, and this is fat guy at his desk. This is not a guy under the lights with 100,000 screaming against a damn elite football team. Okay. So please don't, I'm not a guru. I don't pretend to be a guru. What you want a high level college quarterback to see. Okay. Siski, I'm giving you and McCarron some of my disclaimer here. Okay. Just hear me out. I'm not claiming to be a guru. But you see this man-to-man presentation with no one in position to play man-to-man on your slot, probably ain't man-to-man. So the corner is going to show man-to-man, and when the ball is snapped, again, great execution by him. Soon as the ball is snapped, watch him open the hips, find 2 in the eyes for the first time, and he is now going to come off and trap the route, and he is going to get the interception.
Oh, that's bad quarterback play.
What Quinn Ewers thinks he sees right here is man-to-man. Outside release by actually his tight end. There is nobody man-to-man near the sticks on my slot. It is an easy out route completion for a first down until that becomes a trap cover 2 corner, just like it does. And there it is right there. If he sees him come off, look at the hole shot right now to the tight end before the safety can react. They still convert. They still move the sticks. He doesn't see it. He is completely fooled by the corner, completely fooled by the situation right there, and it clearly cost them a big play in the game. Okay, another 3rd down. We're a few plays later. We are 3rd and 5 right here. Okay, here they are. They come out in a 3-by-1 set. They are going to rush 4 right here, and they are going to play cover 1. So I am man-to-man here. One of these dudes has the running back. Okay, the other's going to have the quarterback. And then you have this lone safety that is going to be back here by himself. So here they are in the 1 high structure. They're going to use a stunt in the front to rush 4, get him pressure. Arch feels it. Arch steps up. Now, again, another good design by Sark, and he has dialed it up. They are going to take this player, and he is going to shave through the outside shoulder of this down safety. Okay? With the outside corner being off, I'm going to shave and I'm going to push as vertical as I can to pull my defender and force this guy to run over the hump. He is going to run a now slant right now. He's going to work some type of an inside stem to clear him out. And if 24 attaches to the slot, I'm going to give it right now to this receiver, and I'm going to hope that he can break a tackle and convert a first down. This is a day 1 install man beater for us at Cambridge. Okay. Here, Arch takes the left side. He is working the 2-man game he has with his tight end and his tailback. I don't know right here if he just thinks it is a different coverage. It's a young quarterback. The truth is, if the tailback breaks out, and maybe that's what he's anticipating, it's a first down, go Longhorns, right? Instead, he is working vertical. Arch is going to step up in the pocket. He is going to try to use his feet, but they do a nice job with the stunt, with the pressure, and you can see from the end zone, they're going to overload one side. They're going to force you to set your protection that way. When the play actually starts, he's going to start wide, set you up, and come inside, and as he crosses face, he's going to read this guard. The guard steps down, he's going to come all the way outside of him. If the guard steps out, he is going to try to cross face and get vertical right there. Okay. As the play develops, again, effective 4-man rush. My bad. Click the wrong button. Here comes the slide by the O-line. That's exactly what you expect. Here comes 76 is set to the center. So now wait on 10 to come inside, and now here comes the nose all the way around. Great job by number 13. Press the guard, get him on skates. Now work your bull rush, wait on the quarterback. Now, I believe they get bailed out by a face mask here. I think the ball does extend because they do get the flag right there. Okay, but you see there is space to complete the ball for the first down if you identify the coverage and have the right call. There's also good execution by the defensive front to get them off the field if it were not for the penalty. Okay, now this is one thing that Ole Miss will battle. Okay, watch the front right here. Not going to spend a ton of time on this. Showed this last year, but they're showing this even front right here. The offense is going to shift, and so is the defense. And you can see the effect when they shift and they bump to this odd front. 56 is going to move. The movement of the defense triggers and gains the false start right there. They will do it a handful of times throughout the course of a game. One point of emphasis for the defense this year is you can't, as a defense, mimic anything that might represent the cadence. You can't clap as a defense. Your signal to shift can't sound like an offensive cadence right here, but you will get this a few times during the game in crucial moments out of this Georgia defense. Okay, moving forward right here. Okay, Ole Miss fans, you want to see pre-scorer DeQuan Wright get the ball. If Texas is playing zone, you will see the tight ends get the ball. Just to prove it to you that tight ends can sometimes catch the ball right here versus the defense. There you go. 2nd and 15. Nice, easy catch to get them into a 3rd and manageable. But again, it is about a zone defense. It is about they are getting aggressive right here. Nice design off of the run fake. Get everybody divided. Tight end just finds a soft spot. There it is. If they're playing man-to-man, he is not going to be that open, but they dial it up and get it at the right time right there. Okay, so now they went from that 2nd and 14. They're in a very manageable 3rd and 7. And for a lot of the clips that I have left, it is going to be about you seeing schemes very similar to what Ole Miss does offensively and seeing there being opportunity if there is execution. Day one for Ole Miss, they run crossing concepts like crazy, where they are going to push someone vertical, and however it plays out, there is a crossing route followed by a dig. Okay, that is basically what you were going to get right here out of this Longhorn offense. There it is, the inside player on the crossing route matched up on number 4, outside player on the dig. Arch right here pushes the ball down the field, tries to throw the crossing route. His receiver slows down. And honestly, if this ball is thrown right now, you might have a chance on that crosser. There is space for it. He holds it to let him clear and just misses. What I want you to see is, one, great job in protection by the Texas offense, but watch the outside receiver. He's just going to patiently work his way vertical, and as that cross happens, he's going to go find this inside space versus this one high cover 3 structure. And look now at the wide open window to move the sticks versus this Georgia offense. Again, great protection. You have to execute at the line of scrimmage right here. Jackson Dart does a good job moving through this concept because he has run this concept 1,000 times, and that is not hyperbole. Right here, if Arch either pulls the trigger on his crosser earlier or recognizes the match by number 4 right there and gets backside to his dig, you can see he has time for it. First down, Horns. Moving on, a little bit later, I believe Ewers is back in the game right now. Here comes a play action shot. Again, going back to look at the dig again. Same idea, but now they don't even have another player on the other side of the field to stress you vertical and clear it out. They're going to use a nice little motion here to help him kind of divide and identify the coverage. He's going to inside stem, and he's going to run through the inside shoulder of that safety. Here comes this same dig route. It is against the coverage structure. They're getting the one high look right there. There it is again. This time, put it on him. Explosive play. there is space when you protect. It's about finding the right call. Okay. Again, and at this point, I'm just going to roll a lot of these and not even spend a ton of time talking about it because we're just repeating ourselves over and over again. Play action. They go full on right here. Too tight. 8-man protection off of run game. Okay. And right here, they're trying to work a double move right here. It is not overly effective.
He's throwing into double coverage there.
He's throwing into double coverage, and I'll be damned. This guy comes back and actually makes the play anyway. But right here, this is Ole Miss will definitely double coverage guys right here, but there's almost going to always be a guy coming here from behind, right? If that receiver from the other side of the field is working a crossing route or a dig route right here, again, look at all of the space that has been exploited because they are willing to play. That they're not going to drop 7 and drop 8 a ton. They're going to still be aggressive at times, and there are windows to potentially be found. Again, another play action shot by this Texas offense. There they are again. It's another 7-man protection. The back is able to get out right here. He takes the check down. They're just basically running curls on the outside right here. Not something you're going to see from the Ole Miss offense. But we've seen a million times this year. We have seen Ole Miss. They've pushed post routes. They push crossing routes. They will push comeback routes. But we have seen them also push what I've called this year, called a thumb route, where they show that post and then back outside. We highlighted early in the season Caden Lee running that route with really nice precision and a really nice throw by Dart. They have created one-on-ones right here with those corners. And even if he wants to throw the curl down here at the bottom, look at the window to throw the curl. He throws the check down right here before the curl even has a chance to develop. But if he wants this ball and he is in rhythm, that is a completion. That is a first down right here. He takes the check down, and again, Georgia's going to do a good job in the open field, and one might miss, but the next is going to get you. Again, so here they're going to go back, and Ole Miss has shown some of this exact concept. I think they ran it, I believe it was a South Carolina game where we saw it several times. They're going to end up motioning the back out right here, and typically it is either a corner or a dig route, a snag with this inside player, and then your back is in the flat. Ole Miss runs it a decent amount with this dig route. What you're going to get right here is they're going to push, and they are going to show the dig, boom, and then try to get vertical. And again, Ewers doesn't hold the ball. He doesn't hold on to his water. He takes the tailback right there. But watch this double move dig route. If you get this safety rotating high to cover 3 because they're rotating down, or better, if you get him rotating down, you have space to get behind him. These are the things that Lane Kiffin sees on a film and drools over.
There it is.
It's the opportunity exists, even if it is not there. Okay, let's say you double move him and they cover it. If you bring something layered from the backside, you have again found a window. These dudes sure as hell better do their job. Without them, there is no opportunity. But I firmly believe that if they can play well up front, that they are going to find opportunity. You have to be able to take advantage of it. Here's another one. Again, another dig route. We see these in-breaking routes come open right here. They push a double move on this side. They dig from the other side right there. There it is. Step up, find it. That's a 1st and 10. Use it on a rundown. Push the ball down the field. Get the first down. Move the sticks. 3 more plays I'm going to show you. And again, it's more and more repeat. There they are again. 6-man protection. You are a 1st and 10 again. This is actually the very next play. They're going to come back to a similar concept to what we looked at a minute ago, where they're going to give you a little corner route to the bottom of the screen, and they're going to give you just this little double move. Instead of running a stick route like he would normally do on the backside, he's just going to kind of nod, and he is going to push through to the middle of the field. Ewers works it down here. Again, watch him take the check down on 1st down, and I guarantee you that Lane Kiffin is sitting in a room breaking this film down seeing this. that the middle of the field versus this cover two is wide open right there. And if he just has the patience to take it. Now, that patience is highly dependent, again, upon how Ole Miss can handle the line of scrimmage. Right here, he just never lets himself get to it, but there's opportunity to work the middle of the field right there. Couple plays later, Sark is in the bag again. This is actually the very next play. He's going to take another shot off of play action again. Okay, right here, something else we've seen Ole Miss do a million times. There's the vertical. Here comes Jordan Watkins or Juice Wells or one of these guys on this crosser climbing into space that's been vacated by the corner. He's going to start low, and then he's going to go and find the vacated space. Here, Ewers holds his water. Protection's good enough. Drops the bucket and just misses right here. Any better throw right there? 5 catches it with a chance to score. He just overthrows him slightly. Again, you look at the score of this game and you look at the way this game played out, and watching it live, I just remember thinking that they suffocated. I thought I had one more play on here. It felt like live that they absolutely suffocated this Texas offense. And as I started going back and breaking this thing down, it was more about execution and not about opportunity. The opportunity was there for Texas to be successful offensively. This is several plays later. Next drive, again, they're going to go 7-man play action right there. All right. Again, he is going to find his check down. But again, I want you to see the middle of the field. I want you to see all this space that he's working into on that crosser. I highlight these not to show you that there's flaw in what Kirby Smart does. He is the best in the business, on that side of the ball. Lord knows he has been highly effective for a long time as a defensive coordinator. I want you to see that Ole Miss is an offense that absolutely loves to throw crossing routes, and they love to flood these zones off of these play action shots. And if Texas had executed, we feel a lot differently about that game, and the outcome of that game possibly looks a lot different. Because, again, the opportunity was there. For Ole Miss, it's going to be about, are you healthy enough on the perimeter to stretch and win matchups? And are you good enough up front to give Jackson Dart the time to find these opportunities, because they will be there?
I kind of think it's that way for both teams, right? It's their ability to protect the quarterback and let him get comfortable against pretty good defensive fronts. Obviously, Ole Miss's defensive front's elite. It's for Georgia, it's the ability to protect him enough to see if you can get back into a comfort zone, because sometimes he gets going and he's hot. And
yeah, I think ultimately the guy's talented, period.
Yeah.
Despite the interceptions he's thrown this year. To me, ultimately what sets him apart, because I agree with you, it's about the ability to protect on the offensive line. Georgia is more consistent running the football, and they do such a good job getting the ball side to side to create yards, and to gain space and offensively. Ole Miss is going to have to find a way to steal yards and stay efficient and stay out of third down situations. I think you're going to see them be aggressive on first down, but they're going to have to do a great job, in particular when they're not successful on first down, finding free yards on second down to get them into efficient situations on third down, stay out of third and long situations. And if they can do that, Ole Miss has a chance to have a solid day offensively. I also think Ole Miss is going to run Jackson Dart more in this game.
I do too.
I think they're going to have to. And I think part of that is the Parrish injury. But it's also, you look at what traditionally has given the Saban defensive structure tree issues. It is mobile quarterbacks. Malachi Singleton comes in the game last week for Arkansas, and it is his legs that give Ole Miss defense problems. Early in the game against Oklahoma, what gave the Ole Miss defense problems? It was they were using the quarterback in the run game and in the read game. Go to the Alabama game. Why did Alabama have so much success in the first half against this Georgia defense? Georgia was trying to play man-to-man on the outside, trying to be aggressive, and the quarterback beat them with his legs.
Yep.
Jackson Dart is going to have to use his legs as part of the run game, and they're going to have to be willing to be a little bit more aggressive with that to win this game.
Should be a hell of a lot of fun. Ole Miss and Georgia, again, 2:30 Central Time on Saturday, Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Ole Miss doesn't play next week. In 2 weeks, we'll either be talking about, I don't know, an autopsy basically, or we'll be talking about a trip to Florida that is absolutely a play-in game. I mean, that simple. Gators are probably down to their third quarterback, and then all that's left after that is Mississippi State. I think Jeff's doing a good job getting his team to play hard, but they're not very good. And so it feels like Saturday's it. I mean, it feels like this is a playoff game. If you win, you're almost certainly in, and if you lose, you are out. It's, and I said this earlier today. We'll kind of wrap with this, but I know for Lane, I've had some people say, well, that was just kind of justification, but at the end of the day, it's true. Look, in an ideal world, you don't lose to Kentucky and LSU, and this is a free shot. But if you're going to win a championship, and that's this team's goal, if you're going to win a championship, at some point you have to beat a team like Georgia or Georgia.
Absolutely.
And so here it is. If you don't beat Georgia at home, yeah, you can talk about Kentucky justifiably. You can talk about LSU justifiably. But at the end of the day, you had the opportunity at home to do it, and you either did it or didn't. And to me, that's kind of intriguing, right? Because you get a chance to sort of erase that Kentucky thing.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, this is, whether it happens now or it happens in the playoffs, you have to go through these type of teams to be that type of team. And for them, it started early. It started after the LSU game, and the first two playoff games they've played well. This will be the best team they've played yet. I would love to see this Georgia team play an LSU team. I'd love to see Ole Miss play LSU again. I think if you play that game in Oxford that night, I think Ole Miss wins that game.
Yeah, I do too.
They very, very well could have won it in Baton Rouge. I like Lane and most Ole Miss fans. I would not be upset if this game in Oxford were in the evening. But it's not. It's it's going to be in the afternoon, and Ole Miss fans need to show up and make it a hell of an environment, because it has the potential to be a hell of a football game. And if Ole Miss really executes, it has a potential to be a very big day in the history of the program.
Should be a lot of fun. We'll get back in 2 weeks. We'll talk about the Gators, talk about Ole Miss. We'll recap this game a little bit. We've been brought to you by Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James. Don't forget, get in touch with Ryan Geary at ryan.geary@raymondjames.com or at 601-368-2215. For Pete Deweese, I'm Neil McCready. That does it for this edition of Pete's Pigskin Preview. Until next time, take care.